But first of all today, it's off to Millom, where the oldest retail business in the town is about to change hands and leave the family who've been running it since the mid-1800s. I'm on Wellington Street in Millom, in the hustle and the bustle of the greengrocer shop owned by Bobby Docker. Now, the shop has been in Bobby's family for a very long time indeed. Can you think back, Bobby, to the days when your grandfather took over the shop? When would that have been?
1885. A long time.
It is a long time, isn't it? And shortly you're to retire and the business will be sold.
Well, I'm going to retire, yes, eventually, and sell the business, yes.
Was that a hard decision for you to make?
It was, because I love it.
Now, you brought in some photographs to have a look at, and in fact there's a beautiful old original photograph here of your grandparents standing outside the shop.
That's right.
With would that be a member of your father's family there?
That would be, yes, I think an auntie of mine, most likely. Yes.
And then a very similar photograph taken quite a bit later. Yes. When would that have been taken?
I should imagine about 1930, something like that.
And really the shop has changed very little between the early one in the Edwardian era and this one. And if you stand opposite your shop now, it really isn't too different even now,
That's
is it?
That's right, it's much the same, yes. It's a bit more modern inside, but other than that, you know, it's just
from the outside, it's certainly
it's just the same, exactly.
Very much the traditional greengrocer's shop that has been around for generations.
It's not many people shops that got a window that lifts up.
No, indeed. That's right. Your display area is actually on the street almost, isn't it?
Right,
what sort of changes have you made inside then, Bobby?
Well, there's nothing really, only the fittings all round and new automatic scales and all those things.
What would there have been in here in the old days then?
It was just. Mostly the fruit was all just in boxes, just laying around, there was no display, more or less. It was just
here
and there, that's right.
So how old were you when you first came into the business?
About 14. I just left school, maybe between 14 and 15.
Had you done little odd jobs in here beforehand with your father owning it?
You always had plenty to do, either brushing up or cleaning up or...
Yeah.
And we used to have horses in those days. I used to have to go and get the horses and down the field and bring them in and all this sort of stuff,
So all your deliveries would have been horse and cart?
Horse and cart, but we had one lorry, and two horses and carts. And they used to go around the town selling, from door to door.
Oh, right. So your business had quite a few facets to it.
Yes.
Because you were in the wholesale business as well,
right,
I believe.
Yes. And then it mostly went into wholesale after the war because there was more shops available then. Before the war, there wasn't much around here, only ourselves,
Yes, yeah. How have things changed within the greengrocery business over the years?
Well, you've got more variety now, for one thing. You've got all these various fancy foods that they never had before. And it was mostly in the old days, it was apples, oranges and bananas and, veg and a few vegetables. But now you've got all these other foods and fancy foods and that. Oh, it's good. I think, mind you, as I said before, I think the railway, with that stopping coming into Millom, bringing goods into Millom, it sort of... held us back a bit. Now we have to go looking for the stuff where we could just ring up and get stuff sent right through from the big growers. Now you're having to go to the markets and look for it.
Yeah, you've got to get it locally or it's much more expensive.
You either have to get your vegetables locally or you have to go to Liverpool and Manchester and all these places, whereas you could ring Evesham and all these other big growers, and you can get a load of stuff through on the train. But not now. It's there's no train. There's no railway.
Is that, would you say, the biggest change that you've seen?
It is a big change. Yes.
Obviously, having been here on Wellington Street for so long, you'll have seen and noted and been part of all the changes within Millom over the years.
That's right.
What was the best time, if you like, for Millom and for a business like yours in the past?
Well, I should think just after the war was a good time because stuff was beginning to come in and there was more money about in Millom. People beginning to get work and factories beginning to come, and it helped the trade a lot,
Things not too good before the war.
Before the war, well, of course, it was, there was a lot of out of work around here. People, the work's only working 1 week in 3 and things like that. It made a big difference for spending. But now, after the war, of course, there was more money about with these factories coming in and ladies women going to work and all that. There's more money in the houses and going into the houses.
Yes.
Oh, I think it was much better after the war.
You were telling me that your grandfather perhaps brought the first oranges and
He
bananas.
brought the first bananas into Mellimis. I'll always remember them. We had nowhere to put them, so we put them in the market hall. So, there used to have a market here, and one part of the market was petitioned off, and we didn't know where to put the bananas, so we put them in there.
What was people's reaction to them? Can you remember that, or did your grandfather tell you that?
But I should think at the first. At first, they would have a job. There'd be a bit.
I suppose it would be similar to children's reaction after the Second World War, wasn't it? When stuff started to come back in again.
But now it's a very big trade. Like my cousin at Barrow, where we drove most of the stuff from, they're handling about 2,000 boxes of bananas a week, which is a lot of bananas.
Can't imagine a shop without a banana nowadays, can you really?
No.
During the wartime, how were you affected here? I know that you yourself had gone away. You've joined the RAF,
that's right,
hadn't you?
yes.
Just deviating a little bit, did you enjoy those years?
Oh, yes. I was all right in the RAF. I enjoyed it.
Where did you serve, Bobby?
Up in Orkney most of the time. I was at Biggin Hill during the Battle of Britain, and then I was ported to Orkney, and I stopped up there with the fleet, like where we were supposed to be guarding the fleet.
Yes, yeah. It was years you look back on with a certain degree of affection.
Oh,
perhaps.
yes, I did. I enjoyed it very much. I made a lot of friends up there. Yeah.
And during the war, as far as the business was concerned, presumably there wouldn't have been a great deal to sell, would there?
No, there was nothing. I mean, it was only local stuff, people growing, some of the farmers trying to keep it going and things like that. But there wasn't a great deal. My father had contracts with the RAF out here, with the RAF station at Howrig, and he was able to get some stuff but he could not the variety you get now. No, just the basics, potatoes, onions, carrots, stuff like that, which you could grow, which you could get locally.
That's right. Yeah, people had to grow as much as they possibly could, didn't they? Really, then after the war, it all began to come in again, as you say. Now you get all the exotic stuff as well.
That's right. Yes.
And how has the small business fared, do you think, Bobby, over the last few years?
Well, of course, since these supermarkets come in, they've upset the smaller business. A lot of little businesses around here have gone out of business altogether. But on the other hand, we seem to keep going like it's.
Well, in the time I've been standing here, there have been tens of customers through. You've never a spare moment, have you?
No.
How many people work for you?
I've got 2 full-timers. And I come in myself, and give them a hand. It keeps us going.
And what's going to happen to the business when you retire, Bobby?
Well, I'm hoping to sell it, and so then I can retire. But until such times, I'll have to keep plodding along.
No chance of handing the business down and keeping it within the family?
No. None of they're all the girls, and they're all married, and they're not really worried about it.
Do you feel sorry about that?
I do, in a way, but you can't force people to take it. I mean, they're happy enough as they are. And there's one thing about this, it's a lot of work in this business. I mean, you have to start early in the morning and you're working late at night. Because it's not only, and you're always buying a day ahead. You're always looking a day ahead for things, aren't you? It's not like pots and pans and things like that you can leave on the shelves. You're always having to go through it and sort it, and
Yes, it's got to be fresh, hasn't it?
You have to look after it. And I always say it's a very risky business. If you don't know the job or get into it properly, the stuff could go off, you lose a lot of money.
Yes.
So you have to work at it.
You've got to be a pretty astute businessman, really.
Yeah,
haven't
well,
you?
you have to work. You definitely have to work at the job and keep everything on top line. That's it.
How have customers' demands changed over the years? I mean, there again, you've been in the shop now for so long. You must have some stories to tell about customers in past years, maybe even some modern ones.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of any offhand. No.
But have the demands of customers altered very much over say the years since the war, for example?
Well, they're definitely going in for a variety of things, and all sorts of things, that courgettes and things like that they'd never heard of, and aubergines and all this sort of. People they're all good going in for all these different things now,
A bit more sophisticated in our choice of vegetables, aren't we?
Yes, a lot better.
You've obviously thoroughly enjoyed your years here, Bobby. I mean, you've not worked anywhere else, have you, apart from when you were in the RAF?
That's
It really is a lifetime here.
Yes. It's been all right.
Looking ahead then to when you do retire, you're going to relax and enjoy yourself?
Well, I'm going to try. Yes, I'll have to, but I won't have to be walking down here watching this shop, will I? It'll upset me.
Well, as Bobby goes off to attend to something in the shop, obviously thinking a bit ahead about retirement, and it can't be a happy thought for him. I've moved on into the shop, still as busy as ever, going to have a chat with one or two customers. What's your name?
Peggy Barber.
Peggy, in a little while, when Bobby's able to sell the shop, he won't be here any longer.
No, I don't know what we'll do, actually, because we've come for years, and they're always so pleasant and helpful, and the girls are too.
It's a very traditional shop, isn't it?
It is, it's great. You can just come in, and in fact, you can nearly serve yourself, Yes, it's true.
What's your name?
My name's Lillian Madron.
Does it make a difference to you coming into a very traditional greengrocer shop?
Yes,
Yeah, we'll miss it,
most
won't we, very
definitely.
much?
Yes,
We will.
we will.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
the difference between this and the supermarkets it's unbelievable. And I mean, these shops are what are going to be needed in the future. I mean, the supermarkets are all very well, but they sell you what they want to sell you. These shops sell you what you want.
Ah, right. Well, that's the point of view. That's the point of view, isn't
Yes,
it?
it is.
And the lady behind the counter, what's your name?
Mary Pendleton.
How long have you worked here, Mary?
16 years.
So you're going.
Part time, yes.
So will you hopefully be able to carry on when the new
I'm
owner
going to retire when Mr. Docker does.
Oh dear.
You've made your mind up already.
Yes, I've worked all my life
Yeah.
in business.
Yes. What have you noticed in the shop here? 16 years is a good long time to be working in one place, isn't it? Have you noticed many changes?
Not a lot, really. No, people are the same and the shop's the same. And no, I don't think so.
Your customers
Everything-
have stayed fairly regular, haven't they?
Yes, we have the same people all the time.
Come in every day.
Yes, every day they come in.
Because that's actually the very traditional way of buying fruit and vegetables, isn't it? To go shopping every single day.
Yes,
That's right.
yes.
But so many people don't do that now. They'll go and get a week's load at a time.
I know. Yes,
Man,
they
we
do.
had Mrs. Lamb in this morning
Oh,
from
did
the Millam Museum. You'll know Mrs. Lamb. And she said, I don't know what I'm going to do when Bobby goes because he's our information for the museum.
Yeah.
She had something this morning and wanted to find out what it was and thought Bobby would know. Where did it come from?
Yeah, so shops like this, I suppose, with people coming in on a regular basis like that, you get to know one another. You stop and you talk.
They know
Yes,
everybody.
yes.
don't they?
So it's a regular meeting place.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Yes.
Well, so you'll miss it.
Oh, we will. We will. Yes, it won't be a bit the same.
Staff and customers at Bobby Docker's greengrocer shop on Wellington Street in Millam, reputed to be the oldest retail business still existing in the town and in the Docker family since 1865. Alas, not for very much longer. Bobby Docker and his wife, the present owners, both now 80, are retiring once the business is sold.